So, welcome to this Facebook Live yoga session. And without further ado, we're going to begin in child's pose. So, when you take child's pose, especially if you have any knee issues, you don't have to worry about releasing your hips to the heels all the way. So, I'll be demonstrating here as well. And also, welcome, Gail. So nice to have you ladies here. So, as we continue our practice today, just as a way of kind of finding our way back to our bodies, this idea of breath and relaxation, just to start our practice with, because it's very easy to get caught up in our minds and our thoughts. So, allowing ourselves to come back to our attention this morning and just being with our breath and our body. So I'll be joining you all with our first pose, which is child's pose. And when you take child's pose, just begin to allow the head to release down towards the mat. Allow the eyes to close. And allow your breath to be long and slow. So as you take child's pose here, release the head on down. You can keep the hips lifted if you'd want. Ideally, you do want to let the hips release down towards the heels. But overall, you want to just begin to feel that the body is relaxing any amount here. So close the eyes and just begin to observe your breath. And in this pose, you don't want to force anything. So if you feel any sense of knee tension or lower back tension here, just come out of the fold and just let the head release down to the mat, but let the hips be lifted in the air. So that's one way to take some tension off of the lower back here, off the knees, if you will. And just being with your breath, just feeling into that breath, the elongation of the breath, the depth of the breath. And as you feel ready, just begin to lift the chest, the heart, the sternum up, and find your way into a tabletop pose. So as we take ourselves into tabletop pose, and especially for most of you guys have been practicing for a while, starting to become a little bit more familiar with the practice, spread the fingers wide apart here. Begin to wrap the outer triceps in towards one another. And as you inhale, begin to peel the chest on up and lifting your heart to the ceiling. As you exhale, pressing through the tops of the fingers, allow the spine to round here. And a few rounds on your own of just inhaling, peeling your chest up. And exhale, rounding and releasing here. And this is a great way for us to begin to come back to our bodies because we can begin to observe where our bodies are at now. Gentle movement with the breath. Good, and then on the next breath, eventually you'll find your way back into tabletop pose. As you find your way into tabletop pose, lengthen your left leg to the back of the room. See that the left, all the foot is pressing down to the mat. See that the toes are spread wide apart. And as you continue to breathe here, just begin to draw the belly in. Feel the shoulder blades moving down the spine. Allow the crown of the head to be long. Allow the belly to hug in as you root down all the way from the navel, all the way up through the crown of the head. Good, as you exhale, lower that left knee down and inhale, extending that right leg back. So if at all you feel any tension in the knees or in the wrists, a great option to have here is to place a blanket underneath the wrists or underneath the knees. So you can just place a very thin blanket underneath for now, and that should hopefully help out to take any tension off of the wrist or the knees. Continuing to breathe into that elongation here. So the right heel presses on back, the right inner thigh lifts on up, and the belly hugs in here. Keep wrapping the outer triceps. Keep firming them in. Keep allowing the navel to draw in all the way through to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, lower that right knee down. Good. And once again here, extending back through that left leg one more time. This time, just begin to lift up that left heel. So we do this actually to strengthen the gluteus muscles as well as the outer hip flexors. So once you lift that leg up, you'll notice the weight starts to shift over to the right hand and the right knee. Can you take the weight back to center and continue to breathe here? Good. Allowing the elongation of the body, continuing to flex through that left foot, continuing to lengthen through the chest. As you exhale, lower that left knee down, and as you inhale, float the right leg on back. So once again, any knee issues, any knee tension here, please place a blanket under your knees. So the blanket under the knees is very helpful here as it helps to remove tension in the meniscus. The meniscus is this cartilage that helps to provide some cushion to the tops of the knees. So by having a little bit more cushion there, and we can provide a cushion, when we have some more cushion there, it helps out to take any tension off of those knees. Continuing to breathe here as you lift through that right leg. And exhale, releasing that right leg on down. So tuck your toes underneath. Spread across the fingers here. Press down through the fingers. Float the hips up as you press the thigh bones back. Downward facing dog pose, our first downward facing dog of the day. And allow the knees to bend here. So once the knees bend, this actually allows for our back muscles to relax. It actually allows for our hamstrings to relax. Good. And once again, you're just going to lower your knees all the way down to the mat. So continuing to spread across the fingers here. Continuing to lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum. One more time. Inhale. Float that left leg up behind you. This time I'd like you to turn your left foot out to the left and just begin to bend that left knee into the chest. We're going to do that 2 more times. So inhale, lengthen that left leg on back. Exhale, draw the left knee, rather to the left tricep. Inhale, extending that left leg back. One more time, left knee to left tricep. So hold here for a moment. Just breathe into the body. Hug the belly in. See if you can shift the weight from right to left. And then drawing that left leg back. Release the left knee down. And beginning to breathe here as you lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. So if you have wrist issues here, what I'd recommend that you do is come up onto your fingertips. As soon as you come up onto your fingertips, what it does is it takes the pressure off of the wrist and it moves it towards the fingers. So sometimes what we say here is you could place a blanket underneath your wrists like this, and that's another way to help to take tension off the wrist. Because you don't want to have, we've been doing a lot of postures like this, you don't want to have a tremendous amount of pressure in those wrists. So I'm going to be on my fingertips this time to demonstrate. Inhale, lifting that right leg up. Spin the right foot out to the right side. Draw the right knee over towards the right tricep. Inhale, extend that leg back. 2 more times. Right knee to right tricep. Right leg extends back. Last time. Right knee to right tricep. Hold here. Very nice. Engage the belly, engage the core. Extend that leg back. Exhale, releasing the wrists down towards the mat. And then once again, you're going to press your way up and back, downward facing dog pose. So from downward facing dog pose this time, just begin to walk the hands back towards the feet and let the knees be bent deeply here. So as you release on down, let the eyes close, let the breath be long and slow, and just begin to feel this lengthening across the backs of the legs. So take your hands and place your hands on your low back as you press through your feet. Now inhale, begin to peel the chest up and find your way back to standing at the top of the mat. So as you come back to the top of the mat, extend the arms out to the sides. See that the feet are parallel with one another. See that the toes are spread wide apart. Begin to feel into the feet pressing down as you feel your thighs pressing up and back. Good. So now we're going to begin to move through what we call a half sun salutation. So as you inhale here, float your arms up towards the ceiling and look up towards the fingers. As you exhale, Begin to release the hands all the way down towards the mat. As you inhale here, take your hands and place them on your shins. You can keep a light bend in the knees here as you lengthen your chest forward. As you exhale, lower the hands back down to the mat. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling, lengthening through the fingers here, seeing that the palms face one another. And as you exhale, gliding the arms back down into the sides. Inhale, floating the arms up, looking up towards the fingers. As you exhale, hinging at the hips and folding your torso all the way down. Inhale, lengthening through the chest, the heart, the sternum. As you exhale, hinging the hips and releasing the torso down. Inhale, floating those arms up towards the ceiling, raising through the fingers, lengthening through the center chest. As you exhale, gliding the hands back down into the sides. One more time here. Inhale, floating those arms up. Exhale, hinging at the hips and folding your torso all the way down. Inhale, lengthening through the chest, the heart, the sternum. As you exhale, hinging the hips and releasing all the way down. Inhale, floating those arms up towards the ceiling, palms face one another, and as you exhale, bringing those hands back down to the sides. So let's take our hands to our hips and begin by bending our left knee here. So as you bend the left knee, spin the left knee out. See that the left heel begins to match up to the right ankle here. So the left knee is at an angle, the right foot is pressing down to the mat, your hands come to the center chest here. As you inhale here, float your arms up towards the ceiling, raise the palms up and above your head. As you exhale, bend the elbows and allow your chest to move in towards the front of the room. As you inhale here, float those arms up, lengthening through the back body here, engaging the belly. As you exhale, bending the elbows and allowing that chest to lift on up as you draw the shoulder blades into the center chest. As you inhale here, raise up through those fingers, lift up through the fingers as you look up, fingers touch. As you exhale, bend those elbows and draw the shoulder blades into the center chest. Hands come back to the hips, release the left leg on down. Right knee comes to a bent position, spin the right heel out to the left ankle. So the right knee is turned out at an angle here, and you bring your hands back into the center chest. You can stay here. This is called modified tree pose. As you feel ready, inhale, float those arms all the way up towards the ceiling, palms face one another. As you exhale, bend through the elbows and allow the shoulder blades to move into the chest. Inhale, floating those arms up and above the head, maybe looking up to those fingers. As you exhale, gliding the elbows back down to the sides, lifting up through the chest. Inhale, floating those arms up above the head, raising up through the fingers. And as you exhale, bending those elbows and lengthening up through the chest. Very good. So inhale, lengthening those arms up. And as you exhale, hands come back to the hips and releasing the right leg down towards the floor. All right. So from here, let's take our hands behind the back and interlace our fingers here. Draw the elbows away. So draw the elbows towards one another so that the shoulders begin to draw away from the ears. And then just begin to take a forward fold here as you release your chest down towards the mat. See that the elbows continue to draw up towards the ceiling. See that the belly continues to hug in. Float the arms up towards the ceiling as you breathe here. Continue to breathe as you release the head on down. And then as you inhale, lift the chest on up, lift the heart on up, lift the sternum on up. Take the arms, palms, and place them to the sides. One more time, float the arms up and above the head here, palms face one another. As you exhale, glide your arms out to your sides. Good. So let's take our hands to our hips and take a wide step out with our feet. So we're going to start here and see that your feet are parallel to start. Now turn both of your feet over to the left side first and just begin to keep your hands on those hips. Now as you feel ready, look at the left foot and see that the left foot is in the center of the mat. See that the right foot is turned in slightly. Keeping the hands on the hips, bend deeply into that left knee here. Good. And then as you press through the right heel, begin to straighten through that left leg. As you exhale, bend deeply into that left knee. And as you inhale, begin to straighten through that leg. One more time, bending into that knee. This time, extend your arms out to the sides, lengthening through your fingers. And as you exhale, this time, left forearm comes onto the right thigh crease. Keep lifting up through that right arm. Keep firming the left buttocks in. Allow the right pinky toe to press on down as you begin to float that right arm up. As you inhale here, lift the chest, heart, and sternum. Take the arms back to the sides. Hands come to the hips, straighten through the left leg, and turn the feet on in. Let's spin the feet over to the opposite side here and bend deeply into the right knee. So as you bend into the right knee, be here for a moment, and then as you feel ready, straightening through that right leg. Once again, bending deeply into that right knee, and one more time, straightening through that right leg. And one more time, bending through that right knee. Take your right forearm, place it on the right thigh. As you inhale, draw the left arm up towards the ceiling. As you continue to breathe here, firm the right buttocks in, press through the left ball of the foot, and continue to lift up through that left arm. So bending deeply into that right knee, looking up at that left hand, and just seeing that you're lengthening across the left side of the chest. Inhale here as you lift that arm up, straightening through the right leg and turning your feet back into parallel. As you exhale, let's step those feet back together. So as we inhale, raise your arms up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, forward fold all the way down to the mat. As you inhale here, lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. So any low back issues, keep a bend in those knees. As you exhale, lower the head down. And you don't have to fold as much. Inhale, float those arms up towards the ceiling, raising through the fingers here. As you exhale, bring the hands back to the hips. Okay, so we're going to move into tree pose one more time. This time, I'd recommend in most circumstances that you place your right hand against a wall. If you have a wall within reaching distance, it's just easier to balance here. So imagine that my right hand is against the wall. In fact, I can turn my body and take my hands to the wall. So that's fine here. And then as you feel ready, you'll bend the left knee. You'll turn the left heel out to the side. You can stay here with the hand at the chest. Or if you'd like, you can begin to bend that left knee. Draw the left foot up to the right shin. Or you can draw the left foot up all the way to the right inner thigh crease. As you feel ready, walk the hands up the wall. Walk the hands up the wall. Walk the hands up the wall. So the right finger's turned into the center of the room. And now take your left hand to the center of the chest. You can remain here, or if you'd like, you can lift your left arm up and above the head. If you could take tree pose in the center of the room, please feel free to do so. The wall variation is a little bit easier, maybe lifting up those shoulders so much that the fingers come away from the wall. And continuing to breathe here for another breath. As you exhale, right palm comes back to the wall, left hand comes down to the center chest. Walk your right fingers down the wall, release your left leg on down, and find your way back to center, Tadasana pose. So I always like to kind of take a vinyasa between poses to reset. So as you inhale, raise your arms up, and as you exhale, and you can always bend your knees here, folding forward. It's fine, however much you fold forward is fine. Inhale, lengthening through the chest, heart, and sternum here. As you exhale, folding forward again. Inhale, float those arms up and above your head, raise through those fingers. And as you exhale, glide the arms back down to the sides. So you're going to take your left hand this time and place your left hand against the wall. You're going to take your right hand and place your right hand on the hip. Bend that right knee deeply and spin your right knee out so that your right knee is turned out at an angle. Now take your right foot, glide your right foot up your left leg, so your right foot may be coming into your left shin, or your right foot may be coming up into your left thigh crease. As you feel ready here, walk your hands up the wall, walk your hands up the wall. Take your left palm, allow your left palm to face into the center of the room. Allow your right arm to glide up towards the ceiling here. So as you draw your left outer hip in, see that both sides of the chest are lifted. Raise through those fingers here. Maybe bring the fingers to touch here as you lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. So continue to breathe here as you lengthen through the body. And then as you feel ready, left hand comes back to the wall, right hand comes down through the center chest. Walk the left fingers down the wall, release the right leg down, and then come back to Tadasana or standing mountain pose. Good. One more time. Inhale, raise the arms up and above your head. As you exhale, forward fold. As you inhale, lengthen halfway here. We're going to actually walk our way back into downward facing dog one more time. So walk those legs back and find your way back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lower your knees down onto the mat. You're going to take hold of your blocks, and you're going to place the blocks on either side of the mat. Now take your left leg, bring your left leg and just extend it back behind you like we did before. Left foot is on the ground. And then as you draw the left knee to the chest, just step the left foot in between the hands. Good. So as you step the left foot in between the hands, begin to press down through the right ball of the foot. And as you inhale here, begin to straighten through that right leg. So as you straighten through the right leg, just see that the chest is lengthening forward. And as you feel ready, turn your right foot down to the mat and walk your left toes to center just so that your left heel and your right arch of the foot align. So I'm going to turn to the other side so you guys can see me. So from here, begin to press down through the hands. And as you inhale, take your hands to your hips and one more time straighten across that left leg. So you can re-correct your stance now. So if the left knee is turned in or out, just see that the left leg is straight. Right outer foot is turned in here. Now take your left hand, place your left hand on a block. You know, for some of us, we may just place our hand on 2 blocks here. That's fine. Just take your right hand to the hip and breathe here. See that the left ball of the foot is pressing down. See that the chest is revolving up towards the ceiling here. Hug the belly in. Inhale, extend your right arm all the way up towards the ceiling here. So see that right arm lifts up towards the ceiling. Press through the right heel and continue to breathe here. Good. So as you feel ready, inhale. Right arm lifts up. You're going to just don't worry about the block. Right hand lifts up. Come back to center. Bend deeply into that left knee. Okay. So from here, you're going to take your block, this time inside of the leg, and place your hand on that block. You'll notice that the left buttocks, it moves to the back of the room. Can you draw the left buttocks in towards the center of the room and re-extend your right arm up towards the ceiling here? That's a really nice way that we can recreate elongation through the body. Now take that right hand, glide it back behind you, glide the right hand down towards the mat, glide the right hand all the way up and over the head. Draw that left knee to a bend and firm that left buttocks in. See that the right heel presses down. Begin to spin your chest up towards the ceiling here. Inhale, float that right arm up. Let the right arm lift us up and out of the pose. One more time, straightening through that left leg. You can keep a light bend in that left knee. And then from here, what you're going to do is you're going to take your hands down to those blocks. You're going to bend deeply into that left knee. Release the right knee down onto the mat. Inhale, lift the chest, and just begin to straighten across that left leg for a moment here as you release the head on down. This is a modified, it's like a modified split pose. Good, and as you inhale, re-bend into that knee, draw the left knee back, and now you're going to step the right leg back behind you as you lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. So once again, remember we started here with that leg lengthening, and now our hands are raised. So we still have the elongation, it's just a little bit higher. And as you feel ready, draw the right knee into the chest, round the spine here, and then step the right foot in between the hands. Now keep the hands on the blocks for now. Press through the left ball of the foot, float the left leg up. Good, and then spin the left heel out to the left side. Very nice. Okay, so from here, we're going to take our hands and we're going to place our hands on our hips as we begin to straighten through that right leg. So begin by looking at the right leg and seeing that the right foot is in line with the right knee and the right hip. As you feel ready, you're going to hinge at that right hip. I would recommend taking your blocks. Some of us may even need 2 blocks here and placing the blocks on either side of the foot as you place your right hand on the block. So how do you know how many blocks to need? you want to have your chest lengthening out of that right hip socket. So it's not necessarily that you need to have 2 blocks or 1 block or any blocks, but you want to feel that your chest continues to keep lengthening. So the 2 blocks may help you more to lengthen here. Lift that left arm up towards the ceiling. Keep drawing the right shoulder back. Keep breathing in through that left arm. Good. And as you inhale here, you're going to take the left hand back to the left hip. Place the block on the right side if you use 2 blocks, and then both hands are on the hips. Now bend deeply into that right knee here. Bend deeply into that right knee. And take your right palm, placing it inside of the leg. Draw your chest up towards the ceiling here. And breathe. Keep lengthening up through that left arm as you breathe here. Now spin the left arm out over the head and begin to extend through those fingers here as you lengthen through the chest. Keep breathing here as you continue to lengthen, elongate, and extend. And as you inhale here, float that left arm back up. Raise the left arm up. Once again, arms out to the sides, hands come to the hips, and straighten through that right leg. As you feel ready, bend deeply into that right knee. Hands come back to the blocks. And then you're going to straighten across your right leg as you bend the left knee and release it down to the mat. Keep straightening across the right leg, so a nice long stretch of the right outer hip flexor, the right inner leg. Breathe here. Good. Bend into that knee slightly and then stepping your right leg back. So find your way as you spread across the fingers here. Press down through all 10 fingers. Inhale, float the legs on up. Press on back. Downward facing dog pose. Good. In downward facing dog pose, release the knees down to the mat and find your way into child's pose. One more time. Release the head on down. You know, in child's pose, if you want to, you could place the head on a block here. That's an option. So if you need to kind of feel like the head is resting down, a head on a block is such a good idea. Just begin to breathe here as you close those eyes. And notice the difference of where you're at now versus when we first started our practice. That's a huge part of this practice, is the ability to just simply notice. And then as you feel ready, inhaling here, lifting through the chest, the heart, the sternum, tuck the toes underneath. Spreading across the fingers here, floating the thighs back. Downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose, walking the hands back towards the feet. And as you inhale, take the hands to the shins, lengthen the chest on forward. So if you have any hip issues here, just add a bend to those knees, lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum here. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward here. Take the hands to the low back, press down through the feet, inhale, peel up the chest, and find your way back to standing here. Okay, so we're going to try our tree pose one more time, except this time in the center of the room. So the hands come to the hips once again. And you're going to take your, let's say your, well, we've been doing left all day, so we'll start with the left once again. So you're going to take your left foot, you're going to turn your left foot out so that your left heel makes contact with your right ankle. And you could stay here the entire time. You know, you just want to begin to feel that balancing through the right foot. You want to feel the firming in of the right buttocks. You want to feel the lifting of both sides of the chest. You can, if you want to glide up your left foot on top of your right shin. If you start to lose your balance here, a couple of options. You could either release that left foot on down, or you could take your right hand to the wall. Third variation is taking that left leg up, placing it onto your right inner crease of the waist, and then bringing your hands into the center chest. As you firm your right outer hip in, begin to float your arms up towards the ceiling here. Lengthen through those fingers. Wrap the outer armpits in. Firm in through the belly here as you lengthen through the chest. the heart, the sternum. And as you exhale, bring your hands back to the center chest and release that leg on down. So we take this tree pose in order to develop a sense of balance in the body. So it's not always easy to find balance, so we have to kind of develop it through our legs and our feet. Inhale, raising those arms up towards the ceiling, maybe the palms touch. As you exhale, hinge and fold forward. Inhale, lengthening through the chest here. As you exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, raise those arms up towards the ceiling, lengthening through the fingers here. As you exhale, bring the hands back down in through the center chest. Hands come to the hips one more time, bend into that right knee, and spin your foot so that your right heel is touching the left ankle here. You can take your hands to the chest and stay here. So firm the outer hips in, breathe here as you lengthen through the top of the chest. If you find that this pose is rather challenging, what I'd recommend you do is just begin to bend into that right knee and place the right foot into the left inner shin. This may be enough. Some of us are going to take that foot and place that foot up so that the right foot comes into the left thigh crease. Hands come into the center chest and breathe here. So both sides of the buttocks lengthen down towards the mat. Inhale, float those arms up towards the ceiling and lengthen through the fingers. This is called tree pose. So as you take tree pose, firm the left buttocks in, hug the belly in, lengthen through both sides of the chest here as you breathe. And then as you exhale, bring the hands back in through the center chest. Release that right leg on down. And one more time, come back into Siddhasana, mountain pose. So mountain pose, let's take our hands to the hips here and step our feet wide apart. So even wider than before. This is called Prasarita Padottanasana. So as you step your feet wide apart, see that your right foot and your left foot are mirror images of each other. So the right foot is parallel with the outer edge of the mat, with the top of the mat. The left outer foot is parallel with the left outer edge of the mat. So both feet are lined up with the outer edges of the mat. You take your hands to your hips here. You begin to lean the chest on forward, and then you just release your hands down your legs all the way down to the mat. Now, if you release your hands down, but for whatever reason you can't touch your mat, then just begin to allow yourself to release that head on down. However, you want to continue to kind of close the eyes and breathe here into the backs of those legs. Continuing to breathe here, elongating, if you will, spine, chest, heart. And breathing here. So let those eyes close. Let the breath be long and slow here. We're just going to be here for a few more breaths. It's really a way to create elongation in the backs of the legs. So you could even bend the knees here as you take this pose. It's a deep forward fold. So just take your time here. Don't be rushing it. Just start to breathe into it and just see if you can relax any amount more over time. Now take your hands to your hips. Inhale, peel up the chest. Turn both feet over the right side of the room. And then from here, you can release your hands all the way down onto blocks as you release the left knee back down onto the mat. So once again here, I'm going to have you guys extend your right leg forward in front of you. And if you want, you can lift the right toes all the way up off the floor. So this is, again, that nice little stretch in the hip flexor. And breathe here. So we take this stretch really for a couple of reasons. Number one, to release tension in the hamstring. Number two, to release tension in the hip flexors. Number three, to allow the eyes to close and the breath to soften. So anytime we take a forward fold, forward folds are poses that we take in order to relax the body and the mind. So if you want to awaken the body, you take what we call a heart opener, which we usually do at the very end of class. But in order for us to relax, we take this pose right here. All right, from here, you're going to take your blocks, place your blocks inside of your foot. You're going to spin your left knee 90 degrees and take your right leg all the way out to the side. Good. Then you're going to take your right hand or block, just place it right behind you. I don't know that we're actually going to need that block, but you're going to take your right hand and you're just going to glide it down your right leg, just like this. Then you're going to take your left arm, you're going to extend it up and over your head and reach out over your body. As you continue to breathe here, this is like a phase 1 or level 1 of what we call Parigasana or gate pose. So just begin to breathe here as you lengthen through that left arm. Inhale, come back to center here. You're going to take your blocks, place them right in front of you, and draw that right knee in. Now take your left leg out to the left side. And once again, we're going to extend our left leg, our left arm down that left leg, and our right arm all the way up and over our head, just to stretch out the side of our body. So really nice side stretch here as you breathe. Little guy. Sorry about that. All right, and then from here, you're going to turn. You're going to bring your hands back down to the blocks, and you're going to turn your feet now so that your hands are in line with the sides of your legs. You're going to breathe here as you lengthen through the chest, the heart, the sternum, and release that head on down. Just breathe here. So this is what we call a split. It's a variation of a split pose. So we take this pose usually to try to release the legs and to release the body here. Okay, so from here we're going to come back to those hip flexors. So you'll turn back to center, you'll step your leg in, you're going to sit on top of a block, and then you're going to place both of the hips here as you continue to breathe. Continue to breathe here and allow your right hand to come over the top of your left leg. Your left hand comes back behind you and you lift the chest here. Spin the chest over to face the left side of the room and breathe. This pose is actually called, it's called Bharadvajasana. And Bharadvajasana was the name of like a yogi. So he would sit like this, lift the chest, lift the heart. What this pose is good for is it's good for the abdominal organs, it's good for the chest, it's good for the back muscles. So as you breathe here in this twist, just begin to create elongation in the body, the neck, and the spine. And then you'll come back to center. You'll take your legs and you'll swoop your legs over. Actually, before we do that, let's do this. Take your right leg, bring it over top of your left leg, and just hold on to your knees here. So you may feel like your right buttocks is moving off of the block. You can scoot your hips over just slightly to the left so that hopefully both of your hips are on the blocks. You do want to feel that both of your sitting bones are on the blocks. So both of the back of the pelvis are on the blocks. Then just begin to turn the chest over towards your right shoulder. So this is actually called Ardha Matsyendrasana. This is called half Lord of the Fish pose. We're not taking the complete variation. If you want, you can start to move into that by taking your right hand behind you, but you don't want to overly push the stretch. So if you take Ardha Matsyendrasana, just make sure that you're wherever your body is naturally with relation to space and time. All right, back to center with those eyes. You're going to take your legs, you're going to uncross your legs, you're going to take your legs over to the other side. So take your time to get into the pose. There's no rush to get into the pose. just make sure that your body is in the right alignment here. So both knees, so remember your right knee is in line with your right hip. Your left knee is in line with your left hip. Your right ankle, right foot is underneath your left shin. So your legs are kind of in this like rotation where your knees are in line with your hips, but your feet are moving towards the left side of the room. Take the right hand, place it behind you. Take the left hand, bring it over the knee, and just breathe here. So this pose is called Bharavajasana. Bharavajasana. So this pose is really a nice twist for the body. And come back to center with those eyes. Begin to take your left leg this time and place your left leg on top of your right. So you do want to lift up your pelvis here and scoot your hips over to the right. And the reason for that is that is what will allow you to sit down on this block. Now take both hands and place both hands to hold that left shin. And then just turn your eyes over towards the left shoulder. So this is a very nice version of Ardha Matsyendrasana. It's not an easy pose to take. It's a very kind of deep pose. You kind of feel it in your hip flexors and you feel it in the hamstrings. So just try to keep that chest lifted and turn your chest. You may want to place your left hand behind you. You have the option of placing your left hand behind you here. And then as you feel ready, uncross those legs. Let's come back onto our seat. And then we're going to hug the knees into the chest here. So you'll hug your knees into your chest, release the torso on down, and just breathe here. Good. So now let's begin by taking our left knee into the center chest and placing your left foot over top of your right thigh. Left foot over top of the right thigh. And then draw the back of the right leg in towards the chest. So as you do that, flex across the right foot and breathe here as you press that left knee away from you. Keep breathing here. Release the shoulders down and breathe. Good, and then taking that left foot, placing it on down, taking the right foot, placing it over top, and then you're going to grab hold of the opposite leg here. So as you grab hold of the opposite leg, just breathing in here and letting that right knee move away from the body. And then as you feel ready, releasing the left foot on down, releasing the right foot on down. Hug both knees into the chest once again here. Hug both knees into the chest. So as I shared with you all before, we need to take a back bend. Before we take a back bend, just let both knees roll over to the left and take your arms out to the sides. So the reason we need to take a back bend is because the back bend just helps to open up the chest and to allow for more air to move into our lungs and our breath. And then you're going to take the legs over to the other side. Okay, as you come back to center, you have two options for this back bend. You could take the hands to the sides, hold on to the sides of the mat, roll your shoulders under, lift the pelvis up. You can stay here. You can, if you want, take a block, place it under your back and place it on the lowest setting as you release your tailbone onto that block. You can stay here, or if you'd like, you can take your hands and interlace them underneath your spine as you press down your shoulders. This is the third variation, the most challenging, but just choose a variation that suits you today. And whichever variation you chose, release the shoulders, release the back on down. And one more time, just let those knees sway over to, let's say, the right side first this time. And back to center and then to the other side. Come back to center. Left knee hugs into the chest. Take the left foot, cross it over the top of the right thigh. You can stay here. You can stay here. You don't have to go any deeper. If you want, you can grab hold of the back of the leg again and just release on here. So thread the needle, stretch one more time. Breathe into that left hip flexor. Breathe into the right hamstring here. And then hug the right knee into the chest. Take the right foot, place it over the top of the left thigh. And like I said, other side. And then releasing that foot down, releasing the other foot down, and beginning to take your feet together and your knees apart, maybe using blocks in between or right underneath your legs as you close the eyes here. This is called Supta Baddha Konasana. Just close your eyes and breathe. Perfect. And as you feel ready, extend your legs all the way forward. Take your hands under the buttocks, move the buttocks flush forward. Release your legs out to the sides and breathe here. And just begin to see where you can relax here for another moment or so. Eventually you can point the toes forward. You can take the arms and extend them over the head. Stretch here. You can bring the knees to a bent position and roll over onto your side. And then you can press your way on out. Find your way into a simple cross-legged position. So as we close our practice together for this morning, maybe setting an intention for your day or for your week, remembering that this is a fresh start. Every time we come to our mat, it's a fresh start. It's a new opportunity to look at the world. It's a new opportunity to look at ourselves. So as you take your hands into the center chest, as you exhale, release the chin towards the chest. And lifting the head, opening the eyes. Namaste. So thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Monday. And I hope you guys enjoy your week. My name is Jason Gorenstein. This is our Vinyasa Flow Level 1 class, so beginner's levels class. Hopefully you all have an amazing week today, or amazing week for the rest of the week, but definitely today. And I'll look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. If you guys stick around as usual, I just give my little closing. So thank you guys so much once again. Our next class will be Wednesday, June the not 23rd, June the 24th. So sorry about that. My times have been off lately. June the 24th. And I hope that you guys have a phenomenal day. Thank you so much, Gail. I hope that you have a phenomenal day today. Be well. Thank you so much. Anton, thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed the practice. Anybody else who's joining us, I hope that you have a lovely day today. So we'll be here. If you guys have any requests for classes, just let me know. My name is Jason Gorenstein. This is our Vinyasa Flow Level 1 class. I hope that you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day today. So as I usually say for all of my yogis, be well, be happy, my friends, and namaste. So thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day. And I'll look forward to seeing you all very